Coming up on Network Africa, 100 inmates escape in Cameroon after separatist militants raid a prison in the northwestern region. Five people charged with terrorism over attempt to kill Ethiopia's Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed. And South African Nobel Peace Prize laureate Archbishop Desmond Tutu admitted to hospital. Hello and welcome to the program. I'm Teniola Shoboale. We begin in Cameroon, where about 100 inmates have been left loose after separatist militants raided a prison in the northwestern region. The separatists say this is part of plans to block next month's presidential elections in the English-speaking regions. The militants complain of discrimination against Anglophone people in the dominant Francophone country and want to create an independent state called Ambazonia. President Paul Biya is expected to easily extend his 36-year rule in the October 7th vote, but the insurgency by the rebels is his government's most serious challenge in years. Joining us now to discuss more on this is a lecturer at the Department of Public International Law, Nasarawa State University, Mr. Chukwuemeka Eze. Thank you for joining us on the program.
Thank you, Daniela.
So let's begin with all the troubles the separatists have been causing, releasing inmates and also vowing to block next month's elections. What do you make of all of this?
What I make of it is that it was John F. Kennedy that said that those who make peaceful change impossible make violent change inevitable. The history of English-speaking or Anglophone side of Cameroon is not new. Basically, since the 1961 plebiscite, when they voted to be part of Cameroon, at that time it was attractive. So they had a federal structure and it formed the Western state. That federal structure was amputated in 1972 under the regime of Ahmadu Ahidjo. So Paul Biya inherited it in 1982 and continued with the humiliation and discrimination policies against the people, the Anglophone speaking part of Cameroon. So basically what you are seeing, the violence you are seeing on the land is historical and it's a product of frustration. Basically, they want to end international recognition because a lot of atrocities have been committed by Cameroon soldiers, and maybe because of the influence of France, many states have kept quiet. So they need to do something notorious for the international community to recognize that there is a serious case of insurgency going on in Cameroon and perhaps begin to take them serious, and the United Nations might come into the matter.
So they are doing a lot. They're paralyzing a lot of activities in the regions. How should the government react to this?
No, the government has already been accused of committing crimes against humanity. There is forceful and summary execution of people, rape, pillaging, massacre. So the Amnesty International has chronicled this, and like I said, perhaps the influence of France, because the Paul Biya perhaps maybe in their good books, and this thing is happening against the French-speaking, protest against the French-speaking policies of Paul Biya. So recall that in 2016, they compared the English-speaking part to every business in that part of the country must be in French. So that was where the protest started. And on October 1, 2017, they declared the Republic of Ambazonia. So the way the government should go about it is to talk to them, is to engage in dialogue, but committing all atrocities, even those against Common Article 3 of the 4 Geneva Conventions of 1949. I mean, it's something that the government shouldn't go that way. It's high time that the African Union should intervene in Cameroon.
President Paul Biya is 85 years old and he's seeking to run in the next elections. With your assessment, what else does he have to offer?
He has nothing to offer. But you see, many people that have this French background, they have not forgotten Louis XIV, who started with the doctrine and principle of l'état c'est moi. I am the state. He was king for 72 years in France. In fact, due to his activities, he disconnected himself with the poor. He was busy building mansions. He waged for war for 46 years and used war as fun. So many of them that have this background, they try to read, oh, there are some French leaders that have been in government for so long. Perhaps Biya wants to equal the record of Louis XIV. But I think outside the Equatorial Guinea leader, that's Theodore Nguema. So outside him, Biya will be the longest ruling dictator in Africa if this election goes on. And as far as the Ambazonian people see, they see it as colonialists. They have declared independence and they regard Sisiku Ayutabe as their leader. On paper, that's their leader. And that's the person they regard as their leader. So what is happening there is something that is quite interesting.
It seems to be a recurring trend in African leaders. Why do they seem to cling to power?
What is happening in Africa has happened in Europe before. So there is this evolutionary trend, which it will take us time. Many Africans became independent 1950s, 60s, 70s, and 80s. Now we are behaving like the Europe of 16th, 17th, and 18th centuries, when we had Louis XIV, Napoleon Bonaparte, and some others. So basically, Africa will pass through this trend. Africa will pass through this road when we will have sit-tight leaders. This Kabiyesi mentality that, oh, me, I am the country, I am the state, I am the nation. African leaders still have that mentality. And it will take us not less than 50 to 100 years to begin to shed that mentality. It is only in South Africa that you can have peaceful change of government without killings, beating of people, murdering of people. All other places, you must have at least riots before you have a change of government.
Mr. Chukwuemeka Eze, it's always a pleasure speaking with you. Thank you for joining us on the program.
Thank you very much.